Autopiloting is the #1 reason for why you are still stuck in your rank. In fact, this issue affects most people after they reach a certain skill level, and it's completely normal because we as humans are kind of wired to work in this way. Let's take a real life example. You pick up a violin, you start to learn all the basics, and maybe even some advanced stuff, but you're not inclined to become a core singer or a professional violinist or whatever. Like, you just wanted to pick up a new hobby, have some fun, learn a new skill. So you communicate to your brain that you don't really want more, so it enters in autopilot, where you're able to play decently without thinking about what you're actually doing, but at the same time you do not get any better, at least not noticeably. You now may ask, why does this happen? Well, in short, it's a way for our body to conserve mental energy. Think about it. Our brains has to process millions of things daily without us even thinking about it, from just looking around to moving to, playing video games even. Like, if we had to think about all these things, our brain would probably fry in a few seconds. But this isn't the issue. The issue with autopilot is that our brain goes in a state of, I know what I'm doing fam, you can just chill, it's all gonna be fine. Well, it's not fine. Our ability to learn and improve, when we make a mistake for example, instead of correcting it or learning from it, our brain just says, yeah, it's fine bro, there's no problem, you can move along, which ingrains into us an incorrect way of thinking, and it will kill the improvement process straight up, and in the worst case scenario, it can even make us get worse. How does it actually trigger though? Well, it's simple really. When you first play the game, you don't know anything, so you start learning because, you come in with a beginner mindset. You put thought into almost everything you're actually doing, and therefore you improve. But what about when you reach about silver or gold, which is a bit above average? And then you get comfortable with your skill level, and that is when autopilot kicks in. As soon as you think you're good enough, it's all downhill from there. There is one more instance when autopilot can still kick in, which is a little bit less general because your skill level doesn't matter in this one. It's pretty simple, it's when fatigue starts to settle in, which is about usually after 3 to 4 games. And this one gets worse and worse for each extra game you are playing. Okay, well, why should you care though? Well, here's a short list of what actually happens when you're in autopilot. Number 1. You care much less about crosshair placement. And you should probably know that crosshair placement is pretty important in a tactical shooter. Number 2. You pay less attention to the game overall. You start to tab out, you talk with people, you don't notice that the enemy has ulti. Things like that maybe in one round they won't make a difference, but in 100 rounds, it's very likely that you will lose most of them, like even up to 80% of them, because of this reason alone. Number 3. You start paying less attention to your mistakes, which means that you don't learn from them, and therefore you basically kill the whole improvement thing. The 4th reason is actually probably the one you should care about the most actually. You start enjoying the game a lot less, because you're not making any progress, you just start to feel like you're wasting your time, and that's not really a feeling you wanna have while you're playing a video game, is it? And number 5, your practices become a lot less efficient. This is probably because you are just spamming the same thing you've been doing over and over again, while in reality you should make a balance of new things that you are trying out, combined with old things to benchmark yourself to see your improvement. But when you're autopiloting, you don't really care about this, you are just joining like maybe 3 to 4 deathmatches and then you play your games. And practicing this way is not really efficient at all, because our brain is great at adapting, which means if we give it new challenges every time we play, our skill will develop much faster. Well, how do we fix this issue? Well, it's quite easy on paper, but it's quite difficult at first. This is because it requires discipline mainly. And if you've already had autopiloting issues for a long while, it can be quite hard to break down, but nevertheless it's not impossible, so I'm going to give you a simple process that as long as you follow correctly, you will never have autopilot issues ever again, and at the same time, you will generally improve faster if you do it this way, or at least some variant of it. Number 1 is for the people that play a lot of games, like 6 or more. This one is quite easy. All you have to do is break up your day. Instead of playing 6 games at once, play 3 games, take an hour break, and then play the other 3 games. Of course, this can be applied to 9 games as well, but I wouldn't recommend ever playing more than 9 games, because yes, you can avoid fatigue by taking a break every 3 games, However, you cannot do this endlessly. Even if you are in top mental shape, you will feel fatigue after 6 games. However, you can review games instead if you wish to. Number 2 is probably the hardest part, but this is the most important one. It will completely break autopiloting if you apply it correctly. You need to adopt a beginner mindset and try to be as focused as possible while being also as critical as possible of yourself while playing these games. This is because it forces you out of your comfort zone and you start learning things again and you start noticing your mistakes, and as I've mentioned already, learning from mistakes is the only way to really improve in this game. And number 3 is probably the easiest one. If you are tired, do not play the game. That's it. The problem when playing tired is that you already are mental fatigued, so if you're gonna play like 4 more games, let's just say a random number, you're gonna be even more fatigued than before. You're gonna learn even less. You are basically just wasting your time, so there's actually no point in playing while you're tired. What you can do instead is, as I've mentioned before, you could probably review some games, maybe you could watch some streams, or maybe some pro games, whatever is up. Anything really, as long as it doesn't involve actually playing the game. And that's it. As long as you apply this correctly, you will start improving in no time. And guess what? You're gonna have a lot more fun as well, because you start learning new things. So if you've been also waiting to get to maybe Platinum, maybe Diamond or Immortal or whatever, you're also gonna reach that a lot faster than you would otherwise. In fact, if you find yourself that you have autopilot issues and you are not solving them, there's quite a high chance that you will actually never improve from now on. However, don't worry, you can always fix autopiloting. All it takes is just patience and hard work, and without a doubt, you will reach your goals.